Balake. Where's Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Ron.
All right, Ron is here, guys. Apologies to the notification crew. Realized 2 minutes ago that instead of scheduling this to begin at 10:20 p.m. now, I scheduled it for 10:20 a.m. tomorrow. So if a lot of you didn't get the notifications, that's why. Big apologies. Guys, I love when my favorite worlds combine. My comedy podcast world and the Scientology world. And we are talking about just yesterday, Joe Rogan had a guest on, Derek, from a channel called More Plates, More Dates, which is another crossover from one of my favorite worlds. Because when I talk about my favorite YouTube channels, and when I talk about channels that give different examples of how different styles can succeed on YouTube, one of the channels I mention is Derek from More Plates, More Dates. I mentioned him as an example of a guy who's very good at talking about something that he's very expert in, which is nutrition and physical health. And he does videos kind of like mine, solo videos, just talking to a camera, low production quality. He's got an air conditioner hanging out of the wall behind him. He's got a lapel mic plugged into his shirt, and he has a wildly successful channel. And he's been on Joe Rogan's podcast a bunch of times. So he goes on Joe's podcast, and what they're talking about is kind of the podcast phenomenon, and how big mysterious celebrities that have a lot of like rumors and mystique around them can be well served by coming on to long form casual chat type podcasts to show the world that they're real normal people. And they start talking about Tom Cruise, and they go on Joe just absolutely roasts Tom Cruise and Scientology. Now, guys, just today I found out that one of Joe Rogan's mentors is actually a Scientologist, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu legend named Jean-Jacques Machado. And I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Jean-Jacques Machado. I'm sure I'm not getting it totally correct. I found out today that I'm going to say Jean-Jacques Machado is actually a Scientologist and has achieved the state of clear, and that his kids, John and Jean, keep saying Gene and John. Anyway, are both also Scientologists in Dallas. So I started to wonder if the fact that Joe's mentor is actually not only a Scientologist, but has achieved the state of clear might, I've wondered, like, should I be surprised that Joe ever roasts Scientology, or could this be why he doesn't roast Scientology more? And then it just so happens people sent me a whole bunch of messages today about Joe doing this bit. So guys, I don't want to give it too much more of an intro. But let me just play it for you. This is taken from the Joe's clip channel called JRE Daily Clips. The name of the clip is Tom Cruise Went Crazy Years Ago. And I do have the link to the original clip linked in the description down below. So let's see what exactly these guys had to say.
I don't know, like Tom Cruise, for example.
Yeah.
You can't help but think that guy is a wacko if you don't know him, probably, or of like, I don't know if he's ever done public stuff.
Well, I know he did that Matt Lauer interview on the Today Show, and it was a giant problem because he was telling Matt Lauer that you don't need psychiatric medicine and that, antidepressants are terrible for you. And he was talking about Brooke Shields and then Matt Lauer was arguing about it, and he seemed like a fucking complete kook.
So is he like the head of Scientology, or like what is that?
It seems like it.
Yeah.
There's another guy.
I don't even know what it goes into that or what can be said about that without getting fucking assassinated.
Well, there's the main guy, and then he's got this wife that seems to be missing.
Oh, geez.
David Miscavige.
Okay.
So he's got this wife that there has been no sighting of her for like over a decade.
Holy shit.
Yeah, there's some weird shit going on. Like science.
I'm sorry. It just tickles me to no end. And it has to drive not only David Miscavige nuts, but all the executives at the Office of Special Affairs nuts, that pretty much anyone who mentions Scientology and its revered leader David Miscavige, it includes a mention of his missing wife, Shelley. If you're a Scientologist and you're still living in the bubble, don't you have to start asking yourself why Scientology doesn't make a statement about Shelley Miscavige? Like, just come out and say they're divorced. Like, you could do that, right? You could just come out and say they're divorced. You could say anything, but say something. You have the biggest podcast in the world talking about Shelley Miscavige being missing for an untold number of years. It's absolute craziness. All right, let's see what else.
Scientology is wild.
Like
man.
in my mind, I picture Tom Cruise in like an Emperor Palpatine hood, like walking around a palace of like Scientology people. And I'm assuming that's not what happens.
I'm assuming it is.
Okay. You never know.
I mean, did you ever see the time where he receives an award, some sort of like greatest human ever award?
What?
And he
No.
gets a like way bigger than the Olympic gold medal. It's like a fucking dinner plate, a gold dinner plate around his chest.
Yeah.
And they salute L. Ron Hubbard to LRH. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
It's leaked internal video of one of these celebrations.
Whoever leaked it's dead for sure.
Yeah, they killed that guy.
Yeah.
They threw him off the fucking Sea Org.
Yeah.
Fed him to the sharks. See if you can find that video because it's so bonkers. He gets this fucking award for being like a really good actor. It's like, look at this. This is like Tom Cruise, the Freedom Medal of Honor.
I just love how they get the silly details wrong. That like he got the award for being an actor, but anyway.
Of Valor. Freedom Medal of Valor. So I guess this is cell phone footage. Look, they're saluting.
This is some live. This was like the real live stream. This
Yes.
was produced, but it was taken or something.
Yeah, somehow or another somebody got a hold of this and put it out to the general public. So David Miscavige is giving. Look at that fucking dinner plate he's got on his neck. He's giving the Freedom Medal of Valor to the Mission Impossible guy, and everyone's cheering. They salute him.
Would it kill anyone to learn how to pronounce Miscavige? For the love of Jesus. Joe's even interviewed Ron Miscavige Sr., and nobody can pronounce this last name right.
Each other, which is my favorite part.
So
Look at
L.
this.
Ron Hubbard is a fictional author that is dead now, or is he alive?
Yes, he's dead.
Okay.
Not only is he a fictional author, he is a guy. Please put his speech up here. We'll talk about L. Ron in a minute. Get me here. Say something. This is so crazy. Look at him. International Association of Scientologists. They got air horns and everything. So he's the top dog.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Yeah.
Try and skip ahead to 6 o'clock.
Yeah, how long do they cheer for?
Yeah,
it might be
Jones.
like North Korea where you have to cheer or they kill you.
You're welcome. I'm really, really honored to be here with you. Thank you, sir.
That was this whole speech.
Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your confidence
Like, this is acting.
Yeah.
in me. I've personally been very privileged to see what you do to help, to protect, to serve all of us.
It's like, what's that mean? Protect and serve.
You protect my fucking gay rumors. I don't know, but it's pretty kooky. But at the end of it, they salute L. Ron Hubbard and they say to LRH, and they all like point to his fucking photograph and they salute it, which is one of my favorite. There it is. Like, yeah, watch this. Watch this.
All right? To LRH.
They all stand up and salute.
Oh, dude.
Okay, so L. Ron Hubbard was not just a writer of fiction, but the single man who wrote the most fiction in human history. He has the most published words of any human that has ever lived. And if you ever read his stuff, this motherfucker never made a second draft in his life. They are terrible books, terrible stories. It's like the dumbest science fiction that you have ever read. Like some person with a mental illness is just rambling and writing all this stuff down. And I think he initially wrote for like those pulp magazines, like science fiction magazines back in the day, then wound up writing Dianetics. And, you know, Lawrence Wright covered him and the whole movement pretty extensively in Going Clear. I read the book, and there was a HBO documentary series on Going Clear, all about Scientology. And, you know, it was all of it. A lot of it was like people that were former members of Scientology, like Leah Remini, that, you know, at a certain point in time, they were like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what is this? And like, especially when you get to the highest levels of knowledge, and then they allow you to go and read these scrolls that are just like so obviously crazy.
Yeah.
Like the Thetans came down and they're frozen souls and they threw them in a volcano, and you're a container for this. Like,
But you only get access to this literature if you're like
exactly. Well,
and you're-
somebody has released some of it. There's people that have released some of it online. Like you could find it. I don't know if Scientology's had that stuff removed.
Yeah, that's pretty much the end of it. Oh my God. If I were still a Scientologist living in the bubble, it would absolutely drive me crazy that this is the state of Scientology's PR in the world, despite the hundreds of millions of dollars that Scientologists donate to the International Association of Scientologists for the purpose of safeguarding, so-called safeguarding and protecting the religion of Scientology. These things are supposed to be put into dissemination activities, like worldwide high power marketing and PR activities. But the best they can do is buy a direct TV channel where they put up the same garbage content that you can find on Scientology's YouTube channel. How come Scientology doesn't have a representative that can go on to Joe Rogan's podcast and talk about and promote Scientology so that they don't have the only people going on podcasts like Joe Rogan are former Scientologists or people making fun of Scientology? Now, guys, this is a rhetorical question, because the answer is Scientology at its core is a family destroying human trafficking cult that cannot really be defended by anyone. It cannot really be defended. How could, I mean, the best spinster in the PR business could not go on camera and defend Scientology. I mean, the best Scientology can do is send Monique Yingling, aka Blinky McBlinkface McMuffins, David Miscavige's tax attorney, to go in front of the media cameras. Like literally, David Miscavige's attorney is the only one who appears on camera to defend Scientology. And one of the reasons she's able to do that is because she can claim not to know anything. I'm a Catholic. I'm not even a Scientologist. Then why are you the one speaking on behalf of Scientology? Why doesn't David Miscavige speak on behalf of Scientology? Ever since Mike Rinder and Tommy Davis fled the cult, there has been no public spokesperson for Scientology. Guys, for you Scientologists still living in the bubble, this is what your hundreds of millions of dollars of donations buy. The absolute worst garbage PR you could possibly hope for. And that's why it gives me great pleasure to share with all of you this clip from the biggest podcast in the world, absolutely shitting on David Miscavige, Tom Cruise, and Scientology. So happy Monday, everybody. All right, that is it for me this evening. James Weatherhill says, awesome to catch the chat live. Aaron, you are a true catalyst. You make a good party just that much better. Thank you. I like the way you're thinking about it. When do you think you can do an AMA? I do AMAs pretty regularly, James. The problem is I never schedule them in advance. I never really schedule anything in advance. Whenever I do, I regret it. But you know what is today? Monday? How about this coming Friday? I'll try to do an AMA this next Friday evening, sometime, between 5 and 8. And yeah, stay tuned for that, James. I appreciate it. All right, guys, thank you for joining me this evening. Thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe.